going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. I'm having all the vodka tonight. We're going to talk about Elimination Chamber, and that is my buddy, Jake fucking DeMarCo. What's going on, bud?
They put the chamber
in the dome!
That's
fantastic.
Right. You're going to have a great time. I'm going to have a great time watching. I'm so excited that you're going to be there. I got my man on the inside.
Giggity. Right. I'm going to send you some videos and stuff. Unfortunately, it means I won't be able to join you for the review, but is there any update on that front? Do you have any special guests lined up?
I don't think Cody's making it, but we will be taking calls and we'll be having people join in live throughout the night, so it will be fun.
Guys, be nice to Jake while I'm not there, or I'll have to come back and not do very much because I'm not intimidating.
You'll lay down the law. You'll do as much as you will for that
Probably
AEW review.
Fucking lay down and go to sleep. Cause, yeah. It's my Friday
you're
on
tired from the Dome and SmackDown that you're going to.
It's my Friday on a Thursday, guys. What's going on?
I used to kind of be against the mindset of doing multiple shows in the same location because it used to burn out the town, the area, wherever you're going to. Plus, things were different even 10 years ago. Like, you didn't go to multiple events usually. There weren't 2 nights of Mania. Like, it was less laid out as such. Once they got SmackDown, it was on Tuesdays forever. And then once it went to Fridays, it kind of made sense to do because they would do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So then they kind of took a break for a bit, and then
I won't lie, the one I forget whether it was TakeOver Toronto 1 or 2, but it was one of the weekends where it was basically big pay-per-view, small pay-per-view, Friday, Monday, like a 4 block of tickets.
Yeah. I did the
ridiculous.
3 with Mania. We did where they moved that special takeover. It was like 25 or whatever, where they moved it from Texas to Connecticut. We lucked out.
Yeah, where they just decided to randomly give it a number instead. I think they gave it the number because that was when Vince stopped putting the numbers on Mania. I can speak, I swear. Guys, I've only had 2 Smirnoffs, I promise.
Hey. Just 2, but down the hatch, my friend.
After this day, tolerance.
I'll give you a performance review.
Hey.
All right, at the end of this, we'll see what happens. But
Giggity.
Where
are my pants?
The NXT Money in the Bank Raw circuit, and that was fun. I've also gone to another set where it wasn't
I did SmackDown
great,
Money in the Bank and then Heatwave. I'm still bummed they're not called takeovers anymore, but that's another story for another day.
No doubt. And, you look back at all Adam Cole was revered as a hero that night. He was the biggest heel at that point. Gargano was supposedly like the NXT savior of the fans. He was cheered everywhere as the ultimate babyface. And then he walked in that night and it was like Hogan Rock. He was kind of shook by it too. The crowd ripped him to shreds. And Adam Cole, baby, was nuts. Every single fan in there was screaming at the top of their lungs. It was louder than Money in the Bank.
Do you know what it is though, man? Is like there's 3 stages of wrestler, and this is what people don't realize, and this is why some orientations of matches get kind of fucked up. There's like babyface, heel, and above that is just over.
Yeah.
You're just over at this point. Like if you're take somebody from the other side, take a Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega could wrestle heel on Monday, face on Tuesday, tweener on Wednesday, back to face on Thursday, and back to heel on Friday. Is the noise going to change?
Absolutely not. And you're spot on about that because you look at The Rock.
Shout out to Kenny Omega, fellow Canadian, and if he signed with a good company,
show, you know.
If he signed with the good company, we could see Kenny Omega in an Elimination Chamber. But
I initially was not a Kenny fan. I didn't care for his work in New Japan, and he grew on me like he did you, with his reasonable takes and his unique perception of things where he wasn't a dick and a douche.
To be fair, I never, even when I couldn't stand him, I never denied that he was a great wrestler.
I didn't either.
It was one of those names on the list where you could say, hey, that guy's from Canada. Good job.
And you know what, with the Best Bout Machine, I loved the original Bullet Club. I was all about...
I was never around for that.
Fergal Devitt and, Prince Devitt and having Balor be the... he was great. Here's the thing, though. Balor wasn't doing 60-minute bell-to-bells with 500 spots and all that. That was the Best Bout Machine stuff with Omega, where he was going 50 minutes, 40 minutes.
That's a match I'd like to see.
No doubt, right?
I mean, I'm sure it's happened somewhere else, but I'm saying like on a grand either WWE or AEW current stage, I'd like to see what like this Omega versus. Can you imagine if there was ever a crossover? We have these conversations quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
But take
I only remember them
a
facing
Balor,
once in
take
New
a Balor
Japan.
and a Rollins, put them against an Omega and an Ospreay. As a tag or as a four-way or giggity. But yeah, so Kenny's Canadian, Toronto's Canadian. I'm going to Toronto. They put the Chamber in the Dome. Also going to SmackDown, so I'm going to shove a bit of SmackDown preview in here as well. I know I just drastically changed the topic, but that's what's happening.
No, I'm glad you did, because you made a great point before too. Like you said, with people being over and people being, it really exemplifies how hot WWE is. I know we're both tired of the largest gate records being broken because it's just robbing your fans essentially. But it is important. It shows that
it is happening side by side with like proper attendance records and whatnot. I'm not going to lie. CBC Radio, which is our local like government sponsored radio news thing, listening to it on the way to work today. I didn't catch all of it, but they did have a little historical, like, hey, one of our guys that typically covers this is also a wrestling fan, so he's going to tell us how much, this means to wrestling fans, and, the history of, the last time they were in the Dome was for WrestleMania when it was still called the Dome, and they had, like, a clip in there from, I think, Sami Zayn and Trish Stratus, talking about what, going to the Dome means to them. Last time they were in the Dome, the only two people that were at that WrestleMania and are going to be at this show on Saturday, Trish Stratus and The Rock.
Yes, which is incredible. So what a return for them for you. Like, wow. Yeah, I only think Kenny and Finn faced each other once in New Japan. That's all I could find anyways, but I thought it was like at a very early on in their careers, so that would be a crazy match to see. But like you said, building into the show this weekend, initially people weren't thrilled about the Mania build, and I was really upset with that take, because you look back and people, yes, we had a multi-year overarching story that led to both nights of WrestleMania. Night 1 affected night 2. It all flowed together. This year it's different. We don't have that one main story and everything else falls under that umbrella. There's a lot of stories being told. But I have more interest in the stories this year than I did last year. Not that I didn't enjoy Cody's story, but it was very simplistic in nature. And you and I have both said it to, the nth degree, but Cody was really kind of a stand-in for what should have happened in that match. It really was. He needed to finish his story, but that wasn't his story to tell. No. He just needed to be champion. So beating Roman for him was about completing his father's dream, but it wasn't so much like I need to vanquish Roman. Like Kevin Owens or Drew killing him would be different. But
if I can piggyback on your point a little bit,
please do.
The Bloodline stuff was great. I didn't. Not a dig at Cody Rhodes. His insertion into the Bloodline story when he got into WWE and the Bloodline story was already in full swing. We've already talked about it. It didn't rub me the right way. It should have been somebody that was with that story from the beginning. But also they went with the hot hand at the time.
Exactly.
I get it. Cody Rhodes.
And we both still admit that it turned out excellent.
Out great.
It was very good.
Cody Rhodes, much like Kenny Omega, much like a couple of other people, not a guy that I was typically into, but won me over in the course of his second WrestleMania build, right?
Yes.
Awesome story. The fact that the Bloodline was all-encompassing, it went over that. It went over the World Heavyweight Championship match. It went over other people that had issues and built further issues from there. It went with, obviously, the Usos facing each other and them getting involved the next night. It went with The Rock getting involved in those matches spanning over 2 nights. It was all-encompassing, which, from a storytelling point of view, is a great accomplishment. It's like bringing together all the different Marvel movies to do the first big Avengers thing.
Yes.
It was great. It was an accomplishment. My hat's off to them. Going back and looking at it and thinking about how, like, everything in WWE was revolving around that one story was also a little bit exhausting and put a bit of a stranglehold on a couple of other things that were happening separately. Exactly. So if it was like you were either part of this, we misuse this word these days because people don't like Chris Jericho, but like it was kind of like the Bloodline vortex.
Yeah,
it's like
you were part of that vortex, or you were kind of forgotten to the wayside. Yeah.
The stories that took place in that circle felt more important than the stories that took place outside, even though some of the stories that were happening outside, Bayley getting her WrestleMania moment is the one that comes to mind.
Absolutely. That's a great point. But there was a lot of things, I don't want to say are overlooked, but certainly were ignored. I think could be said. So,
but I think a lot. because it's not that dense this year, people are interpreting that as there being less story, which if you liked it being dense and completely spiderweb last year, I can understand that. But don't mistake that for they're not telling individual stories.
Yes, that I agree too.
But as I say, it's got pros and cons to both. I've heard speculation there might be some, hey, a match on night 1 affects the match on night 2 stuff coming in this year's Mania. We'll speculate on that at another date when I can put more of my thoughts together. I think the build's going fine. I think the fact that we don't have an entire WrestleMania card in front of us right now is exactly where we should be, because we've got another big building block that's happening in 2 days.
And we've also, we've been spoiled in a way, but also we've been ruined in a way, because knowing the card so far out and being like, oh, it's Charlotte and Tiff, it's Liv and Alexa, it really takes away from some of the organic storytelling.
It's understandable to a point as well, because everything has shifted this year.
Yes. I'm not complaining either.
No. But I get where people are feeling a bit jarred and feeling a little bit out of the ordinary. Like, try to see their side of it.
Exactly. Well, that's the point I was going to attempt to make, is that I see why people, there's comfort in knowing.
Yeah, but everything's been shifted further into the year this year is
exactly
where I was going with it. The Rumble was technically in February. The Chamber's technically happening in March.
So people by now are used to the card being a bit more defined.
WrestleMania itself is happening on 4/20. It's going to be hosted. It's going to be hosted by Matt Riddle. You heard it here first.
The latest it's been.
And the Rascals.
And the Rascals. Forget Riddle, just the Rascals.
But no, I don't do a WrestleMania like we did last year, where basically we knew a year out that Cody was going to get another run at it the following year. Yeah. They tried that with Cena and The Rock 10 years ago, and to various degrees of success. Do a story like that, and then intentionally do the opposite next year, keeps it fresh. And when you look at the year we have coming up in 2026, where we're kicking off the year with the Rumble in Saudi Arabia, let's keep the good times happening while we can, because everybody and their mother is going to have something to say starting January next year. So let's enjoy what we got.
Yes.
And there's so many different things happening right now, and so many people are connected to so many other people. Every match that gets announced is going to have a negative backside of, Guy A has a problem with Guy B, but Guy B has a problem with Guy C, and Guy C has a problem with Guy D. So if Guy A is facing Guy B at WrestleMania, then we know neither one of them are facing C or D, and those matches would have been cool too.
Yes.
And so you got a bit of a, Wrestle Culture uses the term a lot, the selection headache. It's awesome that you have so many stories to pull from.
Yes.
It gets harder when you actually have to decide which one of those awesome stories you're going with.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'd rather
having choice like that is also a great thing.
It's also a great thing for the long term. It may be a frustrating thing on the night, and I'll give people that credit.
And
but
it may frustrate fans not having your choice happen too.
It's true, and that's the majority of the conversation, and that's a valid conversation to have. But I'd rather that than, we know this is what we're doing at WrestleMania because it's the only thing happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. And
Bianca Belair is going to get handed another championship. No, please no.
She might. It seems like it might be her and Rhea. We'll see what happens. That's not the match I want to see.
You take that back.
Naomi would be even more interesting than Bianca to me, but still,
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I do have the small matter of SmackDown to get through, and I do say small matter because there's only 2 matches announced.
There are. Before we get into that, we got a viewer question that I wanted to touch on briefly, but right. I mentioned that we're gonna try and take a stab at Revolution. We won't do a preview for it, obviously, but it will be of the night because
obviously
it's supposed to be a make or break kind of moment for them, as they're really trying internally to put on a good card, I guess, and kind of reinvigorate the fans' belief in the company is the hope backstage. I don't necessarily see it that way, but I understand the dire straits point that they're in. I mean, they're getting closer and closer to under 500,000 for viewership. NXT has beaten them for 18 or 19 weeks in a row now.
By the way, if I can cut in for a second,
please do.
As of 2 hours ago, Elimination Chamber in the Dome has sold 31,559 tickets.
Hot damn. They put the Chamber in the Dome.
Not nearly as much as when I went for WrestleMania, but let's be real, WrestleMania was 23 years ago and tickets didn't cost what they cost now.
Well, that, and I think even the arrangement for seating is different now too, with the stages. What they've opened.
They've only opened up a total of 33,000, but that means that still means they've have roughly a.
What is capacity there?
Well, when I went to WrestleMania there, the number was 237.
Crazy that you remember that. But
yes, I still remember that number because
I would too. I used
to remember saying because I got my ticket last minute, so I used to joke that I was the 68,237th ticket.
You were just made it.
I paid $100 for a ticket that would have cost me $60. You ain't getting a ticket to fuck all for $60 now.
No, not I looked because I wanted to make myself feel sad, and I was like, let's see what it would cost if I got the cheapest ticket, and what would be the cheapest travel, and travel was like an eighth of the ticket, so it was like $700 for a shitty seat at Mania at this point for one night. I next year when in New Orleans, I'm tempted because it's like, all right, I could drive there. It's not all the way to Vegas. It's like a 12-hour, 14-hour drive or whatever, but make it a road trip. Could be fun. Do one of the nights. Because I've never been to a Mania. It's on my bucket list. But as I was saying...
Have I mentioned before that I was there at the Dome when Rock fought
and you're
Hogan?
Going to the Dome for the Chamber.
And they put the Chamber in the Dome.
I know we got this week.
I got a buddy of mine that does... I know I showed you the pictures, but I got a buddy of mine that does vinyl work, and he was doing some of the setup for Chamber. And he's absolutely not a wrestling fan. So he's he just texted me and he's like, Spaz, guess where I am? And he sends me a picture from like the floor of the Dome. I'm like, you're an asshole, but so in the best way possible.
Exactly, and the fact that he still has to brag but yet show you at the same time, I love it. The logistics behind what they do, because the way you think about the traveling circus that is WWE, it's like they show up, they pop open their tent, they close it, they leave. But really, they're there up to a week beforehand. It's not the same crew. They have different crews for everywhere. They're setting up days in advance.
Well, look at
it used to be where they showed up, set up, and left in the same night. Now they're there days before.
Look at something like WrestleMania, where like midway through the week they're ready to go and they have that WrestleMania set reveal like that. That's become a yearly, which I think is awesome. Because love it. You know what it is. Like you talk about all the people like, wrestlers are the focus, but like, let's give some credit to the commentators, which is absolutely fine. Wrestlers are the focus, but let's give some some credit to the referees, the backstage announcers, the people at ringside, the medical staff. Like, let's give credit to all these people that don't usually get it.
All the staff that makes it happen.
When do the tech crew and the road crew get any credit for anything? The closest they get is that awesome, like I say, like WrestleMania stage preview.
Yeah, besides that, you got John Cena calling out Stu, the cameraman. That's
this is true. Well, remember the one time when they did Chamber in Saudi and they almost lost the Chamber?
Yes. Oh my goodness, that was a disaster too. So
would they have just sat on stools in the four corners and waited for their turn?
I wonder what they would have done. I imagine maybe they would have made it like a cage match and then done entrance into. They would have figured out something, but that's kind of the best thing about WWE when they're in a scramble.
They always pull it out.
Yeah.
But the interesting part about that would be okay, logistically, if you already couldn't get the stuff over that you were planning to get over, where do you scramble in Saudi Arabia to get a steel cage?
No, exactly.
Without making any cultural references, obviously.
Nope, just
not doing that. Just making a logistical inquiry.
Because you're not having much wrestling out there that's happening in a local fed. And speaking of our
speaking of wrestling in strange places, Miro, who hasn't been seen in 14 months, had a match in Qatar.
I know.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And nobody wants to give him credit for finally having a return match because it happened to be against Del Rio. I mean, we know why, but here's a guy that we've been talking about his absence for so long that his presence doesn't get appreciated. Of course he's going to go back to WWE.
I know. It's crazy.
It's going to be Miro Day.
Anyway, for him to wrestle in Qatar, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't even know
anything about Qatar. I know one of the feds in Qatar is loosely linked to Maple Leaf Pro. So that's kind of something.
So I know they're also involved with AAA. That's what I've heard. They have some Qatar Pro Wrestling Super Slam event yearly.
Wait, hold on. I got to do this. I know that Miro's not necessarily known for his music, but if he had like a rocker gimmick, sort of like 3-man band-esque for a night, right? Could we call him the Qatar Hero?
Oh, God damn it. Yes, we could.
Let's go. Speaking of, okay, I'm going to make this transition work eventually, giggity. Because there is a rumor that we may get a return on SmackDown.
Oh, actually, no, quickly, before we get to SmackDown, I'm derailing you, Mr. Smirnoff, actually. We got a viewer question that relates to what we were saying before.
Yes,
a little bit of shop talk. So, they wanted to know, specifically, Jason had asked me on Twitter, what does Spaz think of Edge? Cope. And the quote tweet that he included was from someone called Air Gold, and they're mentioning how from 2020 till he retired, Edge did 26 matches in WWE. He never put anyone over. He didn't even put over Sheamus in his last match, not one person in Judgment Day. He beat AJ, he beat The Miz, he beat Seth, he beat Orton. He did not, the only thing he lost was the AEW-esque match that he had with Bryan and Roman, the triple threat at WrestleMania. So, in AEW, he's wrestled 28 matches. He's only lost 5 times. Those have been in, like, tag scenarios. The only person to pin him and get a decisive win over him is Christian. And even that, they're tied 2-2. So they're like, do you see any use to him? Is he, how do you view Edge right now? Would you want him to come back to WWE? Are you done with him? Do you like what he's doing in AEW?
I'd love him to come back to WWE. I think the way he presents himself with the either the campy side of him when he's like, hey, how's everybody doing? And he does like the almost like the game show host type voice like Drew McIntyre did when he was a face.
Yes.
I think both that and the more melodramatic, intense side of Edge fits WWE more than it does in AEW. I'm sort of slanted by the fact that right now he's involved with the Moxley, the Death Riders story, and all that kind of thing, and all of that is just pulling down and because it's a bunch of
it feels like it's ruining his legacy.
But the thing about that is it's not just him in that scenario. There's a bunch, like, I like Pac. I like Mox for the most part. I like I've never really been a Cesaro guy, but I respect the guy. The guy's
I like his work ethic and his ability in the ring. So
he puts on good matches. I've never cared
even
about
Wheeler Yuta. I was enamored with at one point briefly because I was like, oh, they could really do something with him, and that fell apart. So,
but it's one of those situations where I look across the whole field and it's like I wish everybody was doing something better. So Cope feels like he's in AEW doing a cosplay of Edge in WWE. So that's a little bit disjointing for me. In general, I'm sorry, like all the statistics and whatnot that people collect, they're valid. They're important points to be made and all that. Edge gets a pass from me. He's one of my guys. I was there for his last match in Toronto on SmackDown with Sheamus. It was awesome. The build, it didn't translate on TV, which is always a little bit weird. The building was shaking.
You said it was ungodly.
And it was one of those, like, we're all there for Edge, but there was an undercurrent of, like, Edge has chosen Sheamus for this match, so there was an outpouring in the audience of love and respect and all that for Sheamus as well, which I thought was really cool. Edge is one of my guys. I like him. It's like when his character now is the same as his character when he was in the Brood with Gangrel. Like, if it's your thing, it'll be your thing. It's definitely my thing.
If it's not, then
he's been my guy since the Brood. But you think
as well.
You think about him as like they talk about Jericho being the chameleon, the guy that was always constantly changing himself, right? Edge was by himself. He was like the loner guy when he first came in, and then he had his feud with Gangrel, and then he joined Gangrel, and then they did the Brood stuff, and then they did the Brood versus the Hardys, and then we got that whole rivalry out of it. We got heel Edge and Christian, heel Edge and Christian, for the benefit of those with flash photography, and then he became the Ultimate Opportunist, the rated R superstar. He became the guy that told us what a Money in the Bank cash-in looks like.
Exactly. He was the one to lay out the game plan originally.
You can give me all the criticism, the statistics, maybe he's doing this, maybe. Like, if somebody were to come up to me and say, well, what the hell, like, what does he contribute these days? I'm like, he could not contribute another thing for the rest of his career, and he's already contributed enough. like, which is a backwards sort of default kind of get out of jail free answer, but
Yes.
I'm biased. He's one of my guys. Am I down for Edge? Would I be down for Edge coming back to WWE? Absolutely.
I'm interested to hear that. See, now my take is
we just got the Hardys back in NXT this week,
which is very true. And so I got to see a different side of it. You saw his WWE retirement.
Yeah.
I saw when he announced his
retirement.
retirement.
You saw the neck retirement. Yeah.
I saw the neck version of it. So you and I both have interesting perspectives. Him coming back at the Rumble, there really wasn't buzz then that he was going to come back and wrestle. Like, it was a very shocking moment. His return after his 2011 retirement in 2020 was incredible. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, COVID happened, so he never really got, that follow-up to it. It took a while to get there, but he got there.
But he was one of the ones as well, sorry to cut you off during COVID, but, like, he was one of the ones that was actively trying to make COVID shit entertaining.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to bring up. No matter what happened to
Bailey,
him.
you think about Asuka, you think about Drew McIntyre, and a handful of others. A lot of people say Sasha. I disagree. But there's a lot of people that threw themselves, even though everything that happened during COVID was bad. It was cloaked in this big black shadow that you couldn't get out from under. But there was a small handful of people that were trying. And I'm sorry, a brand new returning Edge to the company was one of them.
Absolutely, and I think Edge always exemplified at one thing, and you said it, evolving, but I called it the pivot. So he found a way to take something that, the freaks come out at night, most people would fail with every time, and he made it work. Mm-hmm. And he would get himself over, heel, face, no matter what. When he came back, he did not need to put one motherfucker over at all. That was not his purpose. That was not his place. He was wrestling essentially on previously borrowed time, and he was back.
Because he's not there to be part of somebody else's story. He's
exactly.
He's there to be part of the I couldn't wrestle for 10 years, and I've got my neck back. But, like, if you put them side by side, and I usually say this about Triple H, which people don't really like, but, like, he could, when he was a wrestler, when he was an active wrestler, the reign of terror, blah, blah, blah. But he could come out beginning of the night, crotch chopping, throwing, like, glow sticks out in the air and whatever the case may be, telling everybody to suck his cock. And then at the end of the night, he could come out with the vest on and the heavier music and a sledgehammer, and you would believe somebody was going to die.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
To the point where they were almost two different guys, right? Now, take a couple snapshots. Take Edge standing next to Gangrel while Gangrel's spitting blood in the air. Fast forward to Edge and Christian in TLC. Fast forward to Edge in his Mania match with Mick Foley getting speared through the flaming table.
Yes.
Those are three different people.
Exactly. No, the different faces of Edge, stealing from Foley. And you kind of nailed it. He didn't have to put anyone over, but he elevated everyone he worked with. So he didn't need to put them over because working with him was putting them over, and the story did. He got Judgment Day to be what it was. Without Edge initially starting that group and then getting turned on, they didn't have a shot in hell if you just had Balor and Rhea and, you know what I mean? And Dom.
The funny thing about it is, and this may be a hot take, right? Judgment Day didn't work with Edge in it. I don't think. For them to find themselves the way they did, they had to kick him out. Exactly. So the best thing he did for that group was let them kick him out.
But had they needed him to lose at any point in time, he wasn't one to politic to the point that we've ever heard to put himself over. And we've seen in AEW that he's willing to help others. Yep. Here's the thing, though. His entire AEW run, and I'm not being sour, but I wish it ended at Sheamus. There hasn't been anything that's happened in AEW that I'm like, oh, that I'm going to add to my Edge catalog. Yep. I want to rewatch that. I want to relive this. They started off white hot going off of, again, the WWE history storyline between him and Christian. Yeah. And that's a lot, and I know it's like, okay, we know they're friends in real life, so you can't just blame WWE.
We can't play dumb, yeah.
But you also know that, hey, these guys, you're going off of a story that WWE basically gift wrapped for you. You're just retelling an Attitude Era and Onward story.
But that's the thing. I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't either. They couldn't do it.
But here's the thing. If Adam Copeland showed up as Adam Copeland in AEW and said, hey, we've been other places, we've been up and down the roads, let's finish a story we couldn't finish elsewhere, and they just wanted to do the story, but they cut and paste the Edge character into AEW. Okay, look at the difference.
It's just the artist formerly known as Edge now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not Edge.
Look at, and I hate to give AEW credit here, because right now what they're doing with Mox is shit, but, like, look at Dean Ambrose, look at Jon Moxley. Two different
Oh, yeah.
guys. Two different guys. And the opposite is true with Cope. Cope is a cut and paste of Edge from WWE, right down to the music and the entrance. Except he can't do the entrance because he can't run to both sides of the stage.
That, and then on top of it, he also doesn't have the same allure, the same presence. And maybe it is because there's less fans in the arena, or because the buzz is less intent at this point in time and intense. But you know, he's 51, not 100, but he's getting up there. It's not going to last much longer. He got a second shot at this.
I think he would be helped if he wasn't in a thing with Mox.
It would help if he was handled completely different, and he never got to be Adam Copeland. It's been the artist formerly known as you said, and it hasn't worked.
And I don't know how it would work because I think both of them worked.
They didn't need a transplant. They needed a new birth, you know, and that was the thing.
But if he was in there with somebody that the AEW crowd was excited about, if you had Edge versus Will Ospreay,
yes,
people care about Will Ospreay. Ospreay's the guy. He's the king without a crown at the moment. If you want to use a cheesy metaphor, right?
Hey, it works.
But they're into him, which means they'll be into whoever he's facing, and they're already into, like, Edge has built-in fans already. So you take a guy with built-in fans already who's now going after a guy that we see as important and entertaining and engaging and investing, etc. I do think it is one of those ones where it's right now, if you talk about, like, take this snapshot, right now he's being hurt by the story that he's in.
Oh, no doubt.
Because he wants to drive a like interaction and investment and passion from the fan base that they have, and I think he's out there and he's trying and he's grinding for it, to use a term that we all use these days. But I think it's not bearing any fruit.
No, it's not.
Anyways, and that's a bummer. And
so you really just nailed it, though. That's the thing. There isn't, and the Death Rider story is not the bloodline, and it's not working. And this year, I like
it's the Boar Horseman.
It is great. It is, and
that's not mine. I stole that from somebody on the Wrestling for Life Network pod.
It works, my friend. And what I wanted to see was, and not just selfishly either, like, oh, what my Edge, but there, you know, it's like name a wrestler that can't wrestle kind of thing. You know, it's like name an actor that can't act. Well, it feels like you said, a shell of his former self. It's not what it should be. And when we're getting the great storytelling and characters on the other side, it's a real mirror held up to everything that AEW has.
Ironically, do you know who I would love to see Edge face right now?
Who's that?
Cody.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's two ships passing in the night. One went one way, one went the other way.
And really almost at the same time, and they couldn't, you know, end up meeting. And there's a few like that. You know, we didn't get to see Punk and Cody then, but, you know, who knows now what happens.
We will get to that. Unfortunately, I got to be the downer. I got to be the wet blanket, and I got to get SmackDown out of the way like it's the mashed potatoes.
No wet blanket. That's the freaking first on.
So I'm going to throw it at you.
Friend.
Not particularly inspiring. We're just getting another round of Nakamura versus Knight for the U.S. title. I think he wins by scheming means and holds on to that title a little bit longer, and I really want to see that.
You think he's going to hold on to it, huh?
I
don't think that LA Knight... I don't think LA Knight needs the U.S. title. I think we're going to get to a point where in the next go of things, I could see LA Knight being a guy that has the Money in the Bank briefcase coming up, or being one that's like, hey, something impactful, something's coming with him.
As long as LA Knight isn't the United States champion, I can believe that he's moving higher. If it's almost a backwards thought process, but I think if they put the U.S. title back on him, it would be like a
demotion.
Not a demotion, but just a confirmation that he's staying where he is.
Okay, yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Demotion,
that's why I love working with you, buddy, because you get my thoughts and make them sound so much better.
Yeah, but I don't think, because they have done not as much as the IC title, but they have done a little bit to make the U.S. title feel like something. Like, there was a whole series of matches between two other guys that wanted to get their hands on that title, and that series took on a life of its own, and then Nakamura came in and surprised everybody. I am looking forward to sitting in Scotiabank Arena next to the Sky Dome and watching the Nakamura entrance, the new one that they've given him, because I haven't seen it live yet.
That's going to be badass.
I am looking forward to ing all the way through SmackDown like I did last time. But it's one of those, like,
You know, the yeah chant was the most over chant at Collision when I went.
You know, they were
My buddy
yapping.
Patrick started multiple yeah. He kept doing that.
Yeah, was going
night. Yeah.
the weekend of Money in the Bank and Heatwave and SmackDown and Edge's last match and da 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 da. Everything got a yeah on that SmackDown. Even the Edge leaving WWE match had yeah chants in it. So it's one of those things. I think the title's going to stay where it is. I don't think anything too exciting is going to happen. But these are two guys that I just want to see in person. Like the LA Knight entrance is just something you want to. It's like the Yeet. It's something you want to participate in. The Nakamura thing, from a presentation point of view, he's got a brand new presentation, and I like. Not my favorite guy, but Nakamura is one of those guys that I've always found interesting, charismatic, and all that kind of thing. Kind of like the Miz in the sense of. I don't really care what he's doing, but I've always kind of, like, if he's coming out, I'm going to cock an eyebrow, so to speak. So I don't think there's too much of a story there. Or the third option is somebody new pops their head up above the fence and throws themselves into the championship mix.
Yeah.
I don't know who that would be, and I'm not feeling particularly creative tonight.
No, but that's the thing, you don't need to be, because there's going to be enough examples and options there going forward. I mean, there's a few people already that I can quickly consider, and I mean, we'll see what comes of it, but
I think, because eventually, I mean, this is an entirely separate conversation, but eventually they're splitting up Theory and Waller. Everybody's saying Theory's going to go face. I don't know that it would be successful, but I'd love to see Waller take a crack at being babyface.
Right.
Just out of my own curiosity, because I think Waller Nakamura is an interesting combination.
Yeah.
But get Waller into that U.S. Title picture, and then he can sort of balance things out with Austin Theory, who right now is saying, hey, at least I've had a singles title.
Yeah, maybe exactly. Like,
if you can sort of jig it that he somehow picks up the United States Championship, and then the split between Theory and Waller is now a fight over the United States Championship, there might be something there.
That could be cool.
I feel like the guy walking around in the parking lot saying, "Is this something? Is this something?"
How about now?
The four guys with no names on NXT. Is this something?
Anybody?
Is this anything? Is this something? The other one that I find a little bit more, I mean, it's a mystery opponent, so that's always fun in wrestling. Nick Aldis has said he's found an appropriate opponent for Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, who's going to be on NXT next week along with Piper Niven, taking on Sol Ruca and Zarya, which I'm looking hella forward to.
That's going to be such a good match. I'm really excited for that.
If they show up to make the first strike on SmackDown and I get to see Zarya Sol Ruca live, that'll be a bit of fun.
That would be incredible for you.
The bigger thing is that Aldis, words, I swear, has said he's found a mystery opponent, an appropriate opponent for Chelsea Green.
Yeah,
now,
interesting.
There's a kind of cool answer, a really boring answer, and a rumor that I've heard. So the kind of cool answer would be, we all know who Nick Aldis's partner is. She's doing the LFG thing right now. Mm-hmm. Chelsea Green, Mickie James.
That could be a lot of fun.
I'm not into that. Is this something?
Especially with Chelsea Green, I mean, she's gotten better and better and better, and she's always been good at the comedy and promo aspect, but the in-ring work has continually improved. So being with Mickie could certainly up that resume as well.
Yeah. The typical
so what's the other two answers?
The typical one, and I don't say this is the boring option with any disrespect intended.
No, but
hey, we're in Canada, let's throw her natty.
I've heard that as well as a talking point online, which I wouldn't hate. I've never been a big Natalya fan. It's not that I don't like her. Like I appreciate what she's done.
She's great in the ring, but I don't care about her.
I don't think she's great. I think she's good. I think she got a little bit too much praise at some certain points. Yeah. That's my take. But
I think she's basic. And we had this conversation in NXT a while ago. I would rather see an awesome basic match than see somebody try something spectacular and fail.
Yeah.
I think she's really basically fundamentally sound. And I think that for somebody like Chelsea, who's going to be more character driven, again, it's what we said about people in the previous conversation. Let her fade into the background a little bit. Let the person we're currently pushing have some time to play out some character, time to play out some different moveset if they have some different moveset. If the story is she's got a heater, get the heater involved. Put the focus on Chelsea, which the match is supposed to do. Now, the third option that I really like, and it's because it's a Toronto thing, and also there are the ties to TNA now, and whatever the case may be. Yeah. I've heard a speculation that it could be Gail Kim.
Ooh. Now that
I haven't seen this confirmed anywhere. Yeah, I haven't seen this confirmed anywhere. Gail Kim hasn't wrestled in WWE in
forever,
ages,
ever
since she walked out after that Battle Royal, I think it was.
Yeah, so that's why that's like hot damn. That's an interesting choice then.
But yeah. So anyways, Chelsea versus a mystery opponent. If they hotshot something and they do like mystery opponent, but there's a fuck finish. And they say, okay, there's a rematch tomorrow night. We're still in the same city. Don't go anywhere. Don't go packing your bag or something along those lines. Throw it on Chamber, even if it's on the kickoff. Then cool. Play around with it. Play with something. The other thing I wanted to say, because there's only 4 matches technically on the Elimination Chamber, I'm pretty sure we're getting a multi-team tag match at Chamber with some combination of the Guns, DIY, Pretty Deadly, Los Garzas, and Street Profits. New heel Street Profits.
Yeah.
They're really taking some swings character-wise.
I mean, they're trying.
I don't know. I like them, and I think what they're doing could work. I haven't seen enough of it yet because it's been in like, what do you call it when there's not an actual trailer, but there's like a teaser trailer out for a movie.
A stinger preview.
And it's like 10 seconds, and it's like, okay, I've seen enough to want to see more. I hope it lands because there's been a lot of to be in the defense of the Street Profits for a second. They've had a lot of false stops and starts. They had the thing with BFAB for a while. Before that, they had like Hurt Business 2.0 with Bobby Lashley. They have had at various points Bianca Belair in their corner because of the obvious ties that way. So I hope this hits the ground running. I hope it lands. Don't necessarily want to see them pick up the titles this soon. Like, let them establish what they are now.
Yeah, give them a chance. But
I mean, again, look at the teams I just mentioned. Pretty Deadly, Los Garzas, DIY. I'm still not over the Motor City Machine Guns being in WWE. And newly heel-turned Street Profits. And I mean,
that's why I wish DIY and Motor City could have tore it up at the Rumble, because that tag match was a little bit disappointing. And
I enjoyed it.
It wasn't bad. It just was kind of, part of the formula. And especially when we've seen what these tag teams can do with each other, and especially what they can do previous to that.
I think I had similar thoughts coming out of the Rumble as well. But anything that's on the Rumble that's not the Rumble match itself is so distinctly not why we tuned in tonight.
Yeah.
That I think we look at it a bit differently. Not saying you have to love it, but I think
there is something there.
For myself anyway, like, be extra aware of how you're viewing it in comparison to because nothing's going to compare to the Rumble, right? Yeah. And I mean, technically you could throw in a 6th team because Grayson Waller and Austin Theory technically haven't split as a team yet. So take those 6 teams and have a gauntlet in the Dome. Put the Chamber in. Whoa. 6-team Chamber. They've done it.
Yeah.
They did it once, and I think people shat on it. I think people shat on it, but
Heavy Machinery should have won that one. I remember that.
When
that was
put through the
side
the thing. Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about this little bit of SmackDown news, but I don't know if you like baloney, but Roman does, because they're going to Barcelona, Spain, followed by Hanover, Germany, and they're going to Bologna as well, Bologna. Okay. So March 15th and 16th, they'll be doing tapings for SmackDown and Raw over there. So the tour begins March 14th with a SmackDown taping, followed by live events in Dortmund, Hanover, and everywhere. So Roman will be on the next 2 SmackDowns, they're saying. So you got the SmackDown taping, as we said, on the 14th and the 21st, and then they're going to go over to Italy in Belfast, Northern Ireland. After that. So then they're going to be in Nottingham, England, and then Glasgow, Scotland. And then they're going to finish out with Austria and the Netherlands. The point is, they announced Roman for the first two tour episodes of SmackDown. So he's going to make his return, and he's got receipts to come. And really quickly, the interesting thing about Roman as a character is that he didn't turn face. He just got unseated from his position. He never apologized to any of his family. He never made right for any of his wrongs. And since he's come back, he's had people helping him fight his battle.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see where they take this. You know, you never had Roman go up to Jay and say, I'm sorry. That could have went a long way, and that's kind of a little bit of issue with the story that I've had personally with Roman. Like, he just got cheered because he was gone. Like, if he had stayed the champion, he would still be being booed. You know, so there was no real transitional moment. He just lost, and then he came back, missed, and the fans cheered him when he returned. But he didn't turn face, and I would give shit to AEW for it, but I think that's the intention, because he's still Roman. He's not face or heel. He's over.
Well, this is the exact point I was going to make, where I made the distinction of, okay, are you a babyface, are you a heel, or are you just over? You don't have to turn face to be cheered anymore. Like, we're in the, I hate to do the buzzword thing, but we are in the reality era. People like who they like.
Yeah.
People don't like LA Knight because he's such a nice guy. They like him because he's a cool character that they like, but he's a dickhead, and we kind of want to see him be a dickhead, maybe to somebody who's a bigger dickhead. Like, put him up against Logan Paul. He's the nicer guy in the equation. But it's like Steve Austin back in the day. Steve Austin was like biggest babyface ever, right? Was he a nice guy?
No.
Did anybody like him? Did he like anybody? Like, it's a really gray area with Roman right now, because it's just, he's too big to be defined. That's why I said, like, babyface, heel, or just flat over.
Yeah.
I think that's where he is now. So I see where you're coming from, and you're not wrong.
Yes.
But I don't think he needs to.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I was getting at. So his character fits, and it's not where, like, Drew, where he's teetering and like the tweener type thing. No, Roman's just Roman. He didn't need to apologize. He just came back to get his Ulafala, and we'll see where he's going from here. So he said he wanted to take on Cody. Does that happen? Like, there are options and questions and things are brewing. So that was kind of my point there.
But I do think him being gone lets other things breathe. And you can make the argument that, like, okay, if other people have to go away for you to breathe, maybe you need to step it up. But, like, Jey Uso went over to Raw, got away from everybody else, shone on his own. Jimmy, if he had gone over to Raw as well, people would say, oh, are the Usos getting back together? Jimmy stays on SmackDown. Oh, he's still sidekicks with Roman. By Roman leaving and not being there, Jimmy is still facing the other bloodline, but he's standing on his own. Jey is standing on his own. There's only so many shows that WWE has, unless Roman wants to show up on NXT, where they could have that separation, because there's always going to be that inextricable link, right? Jey going to Raw, and look where he is now. Jimmy is another one you could throw into that Nakamura, LA Knight, or I don't know, I said Theory and Waller and all that. Like, Jimmy should be in that U.S. title mix. He's not going to be dethroning Cody. I'm sorry, he's not. But he needs to start, because he's already starting on the back foot from what his brother's doing on Raw, and his brother's doing great on Raw.
And you're not wrong about that either.
So Roman being gone isn't just about him getting a pop next time he shows up. It's about, like, being able to, like, share the pops around. I'm being very cliche tonight.
But it's just, it works. It really does, you know, and that's the thing. Like,
speaking of the bloodline,
certainly,
before we talk about any matches on this show in the Chamber, because I don't know if I've mentioned it, I'm going, and they put the Chamber in the fucking dome. This has the possibility to be a forever conversation.
It could be.
Does Cody give The Rock his soul? Okay, two-part question, because this is the sort of the takeoff point where I want to go with this. Does Cody become The Rock's champion? And if not, who does?
Now, see, I think they want to tease it a little bit at first, but I don't see Cody going with The Rock. I really don't yet. He could be. I mean, this would make a great heel turn, and we know Cody has been kind of wanting and waiting. He's going to be a great heel. And it's sort of they're letting it build naturally. He's been the champion. Everyone's coming after him. If they're not cutting him in the back, they're stabbing him in the chest. Like, oh, I'm going to take it from you. I'm just telling it to your face. How many times can you hear that to so-called friends to the point where you're like, fuck, everyone's against me? So I like the little bit of, like, dissolving his Mr. Nice Guy persona, where you see he's like, he was so sick of AJ, he was going to hit him with the stairs anyways. You know, we've seen the heel moments with the chairs, and, you know, he's not the prototypical baby face. So I don't think he's going to go with The Rock, but somebody is. Somebody absolutely is. There's something so interesting about a darker or heel Cena that just... Yeah. The idea of it, do I see it necessarily happening? I don't think so, because John's been so adamant against going heel for so long. He wanted to at one point. He had music change, merch made, but the Make-A-Wish thing came back in full swing, and he couldn't go through with it.
It's the only option, and I'm going to let you continue your thought.
Yeah, no, that's... it really is, though. It kind of seems
Cena
like...
turning heel... I'm going to use the Cocaine Bear example. Cena turning heel, I don't even care if it's good.
We just want it to happen. We waited for that heel turn for so long. It
feels like, and this is not a Hogan NWO comparison. Cena turning heel feels like such a, I don't know what you want to say, like a wrestling
impossibility.
No, it feels like there's something naughty about it.
That's what I'm saying. Almost. Like a wrestling, like it shouldn't happen.
It's a forbidden fruit kind of
taboo thing.
We got the tease of it during the Firefly Funhouse match when he came out as NWO Cena for the night. But I was really trying not to make that comparison. It's such a.
But it works. It's a great comparison.
It's one of those things that like everybody talked like in a very different way. Oh, I wonder if CM Punk's ever going to come back to WWE. I wonder what they would do. We can talk about it, but it's never going to happen. It's that times 10.
Yeah, because at least Punk was back in AEW as wrestling, so you're like, hey, it's possible.
But it's
Cena,
such
turning heel.
It's such an impossibility. It's like I say, I'm going to keep using that term. It's such a pro wrestling forbidden fruit.
It is
that I go back to what I initially if they do it, I'm not saying necessarily that they are going to do it, but if they do it,
that would be a shock.
I don't even care if it's good. Like, do you get what I mean?
I absolutely get what you mean. I want to look at it. I'm in that boat for you because I'm right there with you.
There's a little bit of me.
That's what I want to see.
There's a little bit of me that's like, we've waited so long for it. I'll almost love it more if it's a car crash.
Part of me absolutely can attest to that being a fact and a half, because I've wanted to see him for so long turn heel, and I disliked John so vehemently for so long, and then he won me over with just straight up like work rate and dedication. That whole like once he got the U.S. title and that stuff, he stopped burying everybody.
The other thing about it is, and it would be kind of a cruel irony, because I do have a little bit of sympathy for Cena in a certain kind of way. Like I've come all the way back around on him. Wouldn't it be the ultimate? Wouldn't it be the ultimate cruelty if he turns out to be a really good heel and everybody cheers him after booing him for so many years for being such a babyface?
Right,
Like have a Roman revival almost.
I could see it working, honestly. I really could. I could see this being what Cena needs to evolve.
Yep.
Because really, what else?
Hey, we're going to watch Evolve next Wednesday.
We are, but nice. What do we get besides Cena?
Besides Cena,
if he doesn't, no, I'm saying if he doesn't turn heel, like what do we get? We get the last year of just John Cena, so it's going to be good, no doubt. He's going to have his final matches. At some point in time, he'll win number 17.
But you know what, though? He's such a like cordially received guy now.
Yes.
That one more year of Cena just being Cena will be equally loved.
Oh, it will be loved.
Like, he'll come out and cut the dorkiest promo ever. He'll come out and he'll make fun of his own bald spot, and he'll hit 5 moves of doom and bury somebody that he shouldn't, but it'll be all like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, you guys had a lot of this. Let me do it one more time.
Exactly.
Let me put a dagger through your hero. If it's not Cena.
Yeah, if it's not, but maybe I'm not explaining it the best way, but basically what I'm getting at is like, not that it won't be good, but it would just be more of John. More of the same. And that's not bad. That's what we want. It's his last year. But this could really... And then it opens up so many more doors. Like that Hendry match. Now if he's heel against Hendry, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot...
Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena, doing a rap on Joe Hendry while Joe Hendry's doing a concert.
Yeah. Like
would be awesome.
That
okay,
would be so
if it's not
good.
Cody, if it's not Cena, there's people that are speculating Punk.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't see it being
can't.
Punk. He hated The Rock
can't.
so much.
Not only
not in
like,
a personal way,
not because it's The Rock, but just because his character and his appeal is so anti.
Yeah.
I think if you did that, it's one of the few situations where you do something to a character that you can't get back.
Yeah, that was like it not as instantly it would be bad as where the Stone Cold heel turn was bad, but later on like it affected the business.
Yeah.
The initial of it was shocking, but this would just be like a straight negative. Like that wouldn't fit, honestly.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I just brought it up because a lot of people are saying it.
Oh no, I get why, but because I've heard it as well, and people are saying, oh, well, because
saying
Roman failed
it would be
and
another Austin heel turn type thing, but no, it's not. It's different.
It is different.
It's different.
I'm glad you get what I'm saying.
It's the contrarian. I'm pretty sure you were gonna say the same thing as me.
Yeah.
I have an outside pitch. Now, this is not somebody who's gonna go to WrestleMania and win the title, but just as far as who. I mean, people saying like Rock and Cena together being like the two big movie stars that are now taking over WWE, like you could do that, right? But more generically speaking, what is The Rock? The Rock is above WWE. The Rock has succeeded outside of WWE. The Rock has succeeded in so many different ways outside of WWE that he can walk into WWE thinking, hey, if I fuck up here, I'll just go do something somewhere else. Who's a young guy on the roster that fits that mold?
Who?
I would love it. You're going to roll your eyes. Everybody listening is going to roll their eyes. The Rock picks his champion, Logan Paul.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Because he's such a detestable heel and such a prick and an asshole. It would fit
and he's
with
an
the final
outsider,
boss.
even though he's not. Like The Rock has been a non-wrestler as long as he's been a wrestler. So he's almost. There's a young audience that probably sees Rock as an outsider.
And then I could really see them being together as a unit, being like, "Oh no, fuck you!"
Totally obnoxious.
Yeah, that kind of like the final boss fits with the heel Logan, but that's Logan and kind of in real life too a bit. His on-air personality, so it's really
not everybody likes The Rock in real life either.
No, so that's what I'm saying. This could be really.
But my idea with
interesting.
this, not that Logan Paul would get a title shot at WrestleMania, but Logan Paul's not going to win the Chamber. That would drive everybody nuts.
Yeah.
But whoever wins the Chamber, and I'll get to my guess when we get to that match, whoever wins the Chamber gets the title match on night 2, because obviously Cody's title match is going to be on night 2. So whoever wins the Chamber has to face one last hurdle on night 1. They have to face the final boss's chosen champion to solidify their number 1 contendership that they should already have because they won the Chamber. So whoever wins the Chamber maybe opens up night 1, has a marquee match with Logan Paul. Logan Paul, whether you like him or not, he's warming up to the wrestling thing, and he's pretty fucking good. Gets some extra momentum when they go in to face Cody on night 2.
Yeah. Now, I like that. I can almost see this too with like the Rock thing, where Cody has to wrestle twice. Some people have said this, and I don't know, like, I don't know what they'll do, but more than likely it'll just be he'll be one of the nights. But I could always see it as where they did it last year. There's been precedent for it a few times. Yep. It really could happen, and
I don't think they necessarily make Cody wrestle twice, because then it would be like, oh, you're just doing what you did last year. Yeah, and there's some validity to that.
I agree, but I guess they were trying to say like having his title defended twice, so that whoever the Rock
set it up like. If The Rock chooses Logan Paul as his guy, hey, I'm the boss, I can give you whatever title shot you want. Why don't you face the actual number 1 contender on night 1, and that'll be your hot shot to night 2. You scare the shit out of everybody with the idea of Logan Paul main eventing night 2, and then whoever's won the Chamber is an extra conquering hero going into night 2, and maybe they don't get cheered over Cody, but it becomes a much more interesting conversation. And that's a very loaded conversation to be having over a 24-hour period.
I totally get that. So
all right, one we can go through really quickly. Nia Jax and Candice LeRae taking on Trishy Time.
Yeah, this is going to be just obviously, the legend helps the current babyface get over even more, but Toronto's own. I've always had a hard spot for Trish Stratus, as you know.
I bet you have.
And goddamn, I still remember the one image of her like in the sand with the white thong on, like that lives in my mind rent free. Every wrestling fan knows the one, and it's just like
lives in your lotion bottle.
Absolutely, no lotion needed for that. I come pre-wet when it's with her. I am goddamn was I obsessed with Trish. Lita was my girl, but Trish. Yeah. Lita was like, oh god, she's kind of rock and roll goth. She's kind of like attainable. Trish was like the
she was like the original anti-diva before Paige.
Yes, and it just fit.
But Trish Stratus had the opposite problem when she came to WWE because she had to get over the whole hot blonde and
you're a model,
white
you
chick,
shouldn't
and
wrestle.
Vince brought her in for tits and blah blah blah. Like, I was always a Lita person as well. But you figure there's a different layer to what Trish Stratus in her heyday had to go through to establish herself.
Oh, absolutely, because you look back now and it's such a drastic difference. And on top of it, she did start out just as a manager. They didn't want her to wrestle. They brought her in off a modeling contract and said, "Hey, you're going to be managing TNA."
And now they're working with TNA.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, like if you think about it, right? Like what's the measuring stick? It's like, oh, there's a forever feud. Oh, it's giving shades of Rock Austin, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the comparison isn't made in the women's division of like, oh, is this generation's Trish and Lita? Like, and they've earned that, and they earned that in a time where like names like that on the ladies' side weren't even really being forged.
Yeah, no.
It just it's why I always like I've got more patience for like a retro entrant in the ladies rumble, because you're talking about ladies that didn't have a rumble
when they didn't have a chance, they didn't have any of that. So
anyways, but win for the baby faces. Tiffany's pretty solidly babyface, even though she's still the daddy's girl, preppy, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting watching her work that character as a face, or at least a temporary, like, situational face.
She really didn't do much of the daddy stuff on the main roster, though. Like, that was more an NXT thing, I feel like, than anything. But it worked great. See, because we had
surprisingly, though, like, because I've always been a fan of Candice LeRae, and I've always found her to be, like, more of a general, like, positive vibes wrestler. She's really working her way into this, like, bitchy sidekick role with Nia Jax.
The heel thing has been fun,
Yeah. Like, I believe she's a bad guy more than I believe Nia Jax is a bad guy now.
Absolutely.
But, so hopefully Candice, looking at somebody like a Candice LeRae getting a shot in the next little while. I don't
know if Nia's a guy, but she's definitely bad. And that's certainly, we're not leaving much there. Candice is going to be taking a lot of the heavy work here. Wow.
Don't make the Nyla Rose joke here.
Don't
make the Nyla Rose joke here.
Don't make the
Nyla Rose joke here. We're moving swiftly on. No sword fights.
Yeah, no sword fights. I think Trish and Tiffy, they make out in the corner and the audience just claps. No, we're going to get the blondes.
Gets the clap.
Yeah, there we go. Well, Nia's involved.
I guarantee you Twitter will be full of, oh my god, WWE gave another win to another bunch of blondes. And yeah, they're fucking awesome. Fuck off.
And especially, the blondes, because they're the tag, or the women's champ, and also a legend. Like, those are the sentiments that kill me.
And she's the champion going into WrestleMania, getting ready to face Charlotte Flair. Oh my god, she's blonde too, and we don't like her dad. Jake, I hate everybody.
Remember when they were going to make, oh god, what was her name?
Lacey Evans?
Lacey Evans, yeah, where she was going to be pregnant with Flair's baby.
And then she had a kid for real instead.
Yeah, so she's really pregnant. We can't go with that one, can we? And Vince is like, I knew it.
That's okay. I hear his juice ain't worth the squeeze. It's mostly powdered milk now.
It's just concentrated.
But like, here's the I can even picture the finale. I'm sorry, but Candice LeRae's probably eating the pin here because they're doing really as much shit as I've talked about Nia Jax, and she's still not my favorite person, but she's killing it this time around as a character. She's not hurting anybody, and she's walking in there with a lot more confidence, I think, than before, and a little bit more personality than before, whereas basically on the first time around they had her as being like Lady Big Show.
Yeah.
But
pretty much. And that didn't suit her well. It just wasn't.
Stratisfaction as a setup for the prettiest moonsault ever is going to look awesome on Candice LeRae, who's definitely eating the pin here.
Candice has to be the one being defeated, sadly. And like I said, I really think that it's going to be something exciting. You know, like you said, that Stratisfaction into the Prettiest Moonsault, and then we'll get the pin. And obviously, Candice is done for. You know, them two facing off even at Mania would have been great instead of Charlotte. I think that would have been a bigger match. You could have had somebody else win the Rumble, go towards the other side, and could have had, you know, Trish and they team up now, and then, you know, you can have Trish turn on Tiffy and they feud. I think that would have been better than probably the way they pulled it off with Charlotte, but we'll see.
You know what? It was a match that was talked about like way before Tiffany Stratton even got called up from NXT. And
yeah, it's been rumored for a
way
long
before
time.
Charlotte came back. So I think a lot of people like talked it into existence.
Unfortunately.
I don't know. I think it's going to be good.
I think it'll be good, but I've been so over Charlotte for so long now. She just feels like such a what do you call it? Like a unavoidable, you know.
She's inevitable.
Inevitable. Yeah, basically she is inevitable. Yeah, it's totally unavoidable. You're stuck. You're done with her. Like, this is all you're getting. And she's gonna, look at that. She returns. She gets the title. She reigns for a little bit. She gets hurt. She relinquishes it. And then she comes back and does the same, it feels like. So, yeah. I'm not real big on anything that, you know, I've never been a big Charlotte fan, even in NXT, but I respect her in-ring work, her abilities. I'm not saying she's a bad wrestler. I'm saying that she's just not a great character.
I like her in the ring more than a lot of other people do, and sort of couple that with she gets a lot of shit that she doesn't deserve, like from the negative point of view. Like, people say that she gets a lot of stuff in WWE that she doesn't deserve, but I think, like, from the fan base, she receives a lot of stuff that she doesn't deserve as well. So
I think it's also because that take has been given to a lot of people with, you know, like you just said, oh, she's given what she doesn't earn or deserve, so people have that take of, oh, we need her out of here, this is not working kind of idea, sadly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, she's awesome, and it is one of those, like, she's not one of my favorite people, but everybody that I like, and this is my opinion now, not speaking for everybody, obviously, but everybody that I like, with probably an exception or two out there, but everybody that's been there at the same time as her had their best match with her. Like, people used to say, oh, everybody has their best match with Sasha, right? But Sasha had her best matches with Charlotte. So, yeah,
I can see that. So Charlotte was a good opponent.
Yeah. I don't, like, it's going to work. It's going to do something cool for Tiffany. I really do. Most people don't agree with me, but I really do think she's going to put Tiffany over. And
I hope so.
And it's going to be
I believe she will.
It's going to be that big middle finger from her and the company to everybody that's like, oh, you just give her everything. And it's like, okay, cool. We just put over, like, one of the newest people on the roster.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty easy. Tiff and Trish win, taking on Nia and Candice, and we'll see, obviously, Tiff and Charlotte.
Next, we'll transition over into the ladies' chamber.
That's what I was going to bring up next. Who do you think is going to win for the women's?
Ladies' chamber is interesting as well, though, because on paper,
it's a big wild card.
On paper, it's a match to see who faces Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, but Rhea Ripley is defending her championship against Io Sky the next night on Raw. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So you gotta always go with the possibility that whoever wins this is gonna go face Io Sky. Now, where that leaves,
I doubt they'll take it off of Rhea, but it could happen. I don't think so either. But what if it did? What if Liv cost Rhea and now they're making us face them again? You know,
if Io Sky's not the champion going into Mania, there are other things that she can still do.
Yeah,
Rhea Ripley is such an island, and I mean that in a positive way.
Yes.
She really is one of those people that looks out of place if she's not in the championship picture. So it's a case of, I would love for Io Sky to have an awesome title win, but what do you do with Ripley?
Yeah.
Whereas if Ripley keeps the title, Io Sky, I know some people see it as a demotion, but like put her in the tag team title scenario along with Kairi Sane if Kairi Sane comes back, Asuka if Asuka comes back. With them being in a 4-woman faction that kind of rotates in and out, like you've got you've got possibilities there. Asuka's apparently cleared, dealing with a lot of personal drama online, which is absolutely terrible.
People
fuck.
Stalking her, people showed up to Rhea's house. Like, Rhea was talking about that too. I don't know if you saw the clip, but she was talking to Logan Paul.
About it.
And
people just fucking, like, I know I'm not the most mature person in the world, but just fucking be normal.
Yeah, you gotta go stalk her house out. I mean, come on. Why? What do you get out of that? You know she's not gonna open the door. They even said you can send everybody everything to the performance center.
And I do like the fact that Logan Paul thing came out, though, because when the initial news came out, men are pigs and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, except the person stalking her house was a chick. So how about nobody be shitty?
Yeah, exactly.
Like being a shitty person is not gender specific.
No doubt about it.
Anyways, not gonna dwell too long on that because I could do quite a bit. But we have
our participants.
Alexa Bliss, new one half of the women's tag champions, thank God. Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Bayley, and technically still NXT's Roxanne Perez.
Yes.
Roxanne Perez getting in
For
there.
now.
Roxanne Perez getting in there off of a qualifier that she was given for being the longest lasting person in the Rumble. Yeah. Everybody else won a qualification match at some time or another. Cool to see Alexa Bliss back. I don't think I've said that enough, but it is what it is. I would have speculated that they were going to splinter off into a Liv and Alexa Bliss feud because that would be a fuckload of fun for me. But now Liv's been solidified as a tag team champion. I don't think that's a thing. I'm going to go through the way I'm looking at it really quickly.
Go right ahead. You hit me with it.
Rumors are that Jade Cargill's fully cleared. I'm predicting Jade Cargill to attack either one or both of Bianca and Naomi in the chamber. I don't think either one of them are winning. So many people are pulling for the Bianca Ripley match at Mania. It's like, I think when we're talking about people that have been given enough, I think Bianca's on that list.
Naomi's been healed. Bianca hasn't, has she? Not that I can ever recall.
Bianca came in as heel in NXT.
She came in right away, and then she turned face pretty much.
But my thing is, though, with Bianca, she's not my favorite person. Everybody knows that, and I'm not going to pretend I'm not biased on this one, right? She's a babyface in name only because all of her mannerisms and attitude and everything are
running around smiling and skipping.
No, they drip heel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Her entire dialogue is lifted from Mean Girls, and yet we're supposed to think she's a babyface. So
we got Mean Girls and Clueless up in here, and we forgot about Bring It On that they wore the outfits too. They were the Toros, right? We are the Toros, and we got
honestly for all the times that they've tried to pair up the Street Profits with Bianca Belair, if they all turned heel right now, they'd be a pretty cool trio.
Yeah, Milo agrees, like always, and there's a lot they could do with it. You know, people are like, then they have to combine it with a New Day. Why? Because they're black and they're evil. You know, heels like that. That's why. Cool. Glad you're progressive.
Well, okay. Here's one for you. If Jade Cargill's the ultimate babyface and Naomi and Bianca are both heels, if Naomi went with the New Day, Bianca goes with Street Profits for more direct and obvious reasons.
Yeah.
There's a pretty cool six-person intergender tag. See who the biggest assholes are?
You had people pushing for intergender wrestling again recently, and I'm not against it at all.
Because it's in the game, and because they're linked with TNA, who have made it a common thing again.
Exactly. And it should be. I mean, no, you don't need guys beating the hell out of women like they're making it sound, but there's also ways to do it where it's not a total, nightmare. Look at how Tessa, she was the men's champion for a bit. And it worked.
I'm sure that's been scrubbed from the record, but
it might have been. And still hearing she's a racist chance. And TNA Impact tonight looked like it was going to be interesting as well.
What I love was last week when she came out on the live show, and they're like, "We're coming for you, Tessa. We're coming for you, Tessa. We're coming for you, Tessa." Okay, so
they knew what they were doing.
Process of elimination, the way I'm looking at it anyway, right? Yes. So you take out Naomi and Bianca because they've got another thing to deal with. What I would love. Sorry, before I get into my actual guess, what I would love is if we say the attack was done by Naomi on Jade Cargill, Naomi gets attacked on the way to the ring by Jade, and Jade takes her spot, and she wins, because Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley is an intriguing as fuck match.
It really is. That could be,
Okay.
but I think what
barring,
we're going to get...
barring any substitutions.
I think Jade's going to return, and she's going to attack probably not Naomi. I think that's not the way we're going here, so...
I think they're trying to make us think that it's Naomi and it's actually Bianca, or it's both of them, or whatever. They were
I think
a
it's
team.
Bianca. I don't think it's Naomi.
Here's the thing: they were a team last year. Let them be a triple threat match this year. I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that too.
You can do all the power stuff with Bianca and Jade, and Naomi can come out and do her like Jeff Hardy from Temu entrance at WrestleMania. It's fine. But, okay, wipe them off the board for a second. Liv Morgan, they've just put the tag titles on her, and apparently her and Raquel are going to get a huge push. Behind, not only behind them, but behind making those titles.
A big deal. Yeah, they're supposed to be going all over with them, so sign me up for that.
So what we're left with, on the other side of the card, or on the other side of the match, rather, what you're left with is Alexa Bliss, Bayley, or Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez, it would be a hell of a way to jump her to the main roster, giving her a title shot at Mania. We've seen her versus Rhea before.
Yes, we have.
When they did the Pick Your Poison match a couple of years ago.
That was 2022 or 21, maybe?
I think it was like right at the beginning of COVID. I think
it might have been
2020
then, yeah.
I think it might have been 2020. I could be wrong. I'm shit with dates, right?
I am too, so that's why I was curious if you knew.
It's always cool to see a David and Goliath match where David is the heel.
Yes.
And she plays it well.
That doesn't happen often,
right now she's staring down Jordynne Grace, and Jordynne Grace is one that I would love. Jordynne Grace coming out and taking out any of them and taking a spot in the pod would be awesome, but they're already setting up stuff for her.
Do you remember the pod year with Shayna Baszler, how she just destroyed everybody one spot at a time and then proceeded to lose, and it was like, wait, what? Yeah. Like that's how that should have been handled, where you come in and destroy everybody.
But they also made her a vampire, so...
Yeah.
So I would love Roxanne, but I don't. I think her big jump spot. Holy fuck! Look what they're doing with Roxanne. Is her being in the match.
I was worried about that. I did tell you that initially, so I was curious to see what we would get from her. And the more that time passes, I said to you, I was like, oh, this sucks. She didn't really get this like triumphant introduction that I thought she deserved. And you explained it in a pretty decent way that kind of sold me for a bit. Like, hey, they still did vignettes, they did this, they did that. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong, but
she's wormed her way on she's done crossover stories with people, so she's already been, even though she's NXT, she's been woven into the main event system before. So if they dropped her on there now and tried to treat her like a new person, you're kind of being sort of insulting to the attention of the people that have been paying attention. Make a big deal of her. I think she's fucking awesome.
There was a point I was going to make before too, and it'll come back to me. I don't even think it was about the women's, but you just went ahead and you said something, and I like about the attack and stuff too, and just the way everything's happened. Like Triple H does everything for a reason. Oh, that's what it was. It was the press conference with Cena. The way Cena said "best for business." Mm-hmm. Really, like, the way he said that whole garb, like, I've already earned my spot just off of my catalog alone. This is what's best for business is me going on to win the title at Mania. Mm-hmm. And that's such an about face for Cena that, you know what I mean? Nothing's not intentional in Triple H's world now.
The way he phrased that, and I've watched it a couple of times, they can frame that as him being arrogant or him just being confident.
Yes.
And he's at any time.
Exactly. So it
was different from a normal Cena promo, but it was left so ambiguous that you could flip it either way on a dime, and I think that's brilliant.
Exactly. And I think that was fully intentional, obviously, as it was. But Triple H, like when we saw Cena and Austin on the trucks, and for Mania last year, it was supposed to be Austin. But regardless,
he was talking very slowly in that speech as well. Yes. And when people talk in blocks and when they talk very slowly, it is a thing of like, we might need to cut and paste this for a video package, so like make it easy to cut. So take the parts you need, take out the parts you don't need. Mm-hmm. It's like when politicians talk on the news.
Yes.
But anyways, my thing is, as much as I would love Alexa Bliss to win as well, like Roxanne we've covered, Alexa Bliss is...
Because her and Rhea would be...
Oh, yeah.
Damn good, and you could even do it face versus face in that regard too if you really needed to. We've seen them do it with other things. I don't think that would be a bad match to have.
I would like to see Alexa Bliss now that she's back,
Yeah.
I would like to see her have a little bit of a run and mingle with some of the people that she hasn't mingled before she gets into a title picture. I can't believe I'm advocating for her not to have a title shot at Mania, but I'm advocating for her to build to one.
She needs to build. She can't just go out there and suddenly face Rhea and be expected to win as well.
My other thing as well, and this is something, if you follow Simon Miller, like not his What Culture stuff, but like his own channel, he's really hit this over the head a lot. Keep in mind, if you don't think you're getting what you want at Mania, they're trying to give you second Mania with the first 2-night SummerSlam.
Exactly.
So they're going to try and make the first 2-night SummerSlam a big one. They're going to promote the fuck out of it like it's a second WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely.
Start
they have
from
so
now,
many things to do at this point that
start
it's kind of
now,
silly not to have it.
Have Bliss fall short, and then you've got till SummerSlam to build up a proper contendership for something. I think that's the better option. So Roxy would be cool, but I think it's a little like it's just out of the grasp. Alexa Bliss is a not yet. Liv Morgan's got a title to deal with already. Bianca Belair and Naomi are going to be taken out separately by other means.
Yeah.
And just because I'm curious, just because I want to know what that match fucking looks like, I'm hoping it's Bayley.
Okay.
I'm hoping it's Bayley because Bayley Rhea wasn't something I knew I needed until I saw them in the ring together for the first time. And it's like, why have I not been thinking about this all along?
Yeah. See, I do like the intrigue of the match, but Bayley having her moment last year and, winning the Rumble, doing that, I feel like that story's kind of been told in a way. I mean, this is a chamber. It's a different way in, but it's basically the same outcome. Not that she wins the title, but to me, I want a little bit of the unpredictable in the sense of I think Roxanne, that's the way you get her over. I think that, and she doesn't have to win. That's someone you can have lose, but hey, it's their start to the main roster, and they can have a really killer match. And
don't get me wrong. If Roxanne wins, I'm gonna pop fucking huge.
Oh yeah.
Did I mention I'm gonna be there?
Get where damn straight, buddy. You're in the chamber, in the dome, and I'm telling you, I have a funny feeling it's going to be Roxanne. Just an inkling of a thought that's been brewing since she was announced in it, because it felt like they really didn't do much to really get her over initially, and this would be a massive way to solidify her in fans' minds and be like, not only did she earn this, she deserves it, and we're going to see, what's to come of it. And I don't know, I think it could be really cool to have her represent the call-ups of NXT in a really positive manner. So
okay, so you're going for Roxy.
I'm gonna pick Roxanne.
I think Roxy would be amazing. I'm dampening my own expectations with a little bit of realism and a little bit of I'd like to see that match. I'm going with Bayley. Either one of those will be fine. If Jade Cargill comes in and beats the shit out of Bianca and Naomi and still one of them wins, then everybody can fuck off. The other reason I think
that could be a cool thing too, but
the other thing that would, because you were saying like the Bayley thing would kind of be a repeat from last year.
Yeah,
I do have a feeling with Charlotte and with Tiffany being the brand new star on the roster, and Charlotte Flair just coming back from being away for so long, I do think that's the match that will be, and it's the one that was decided by the Rumble as well. Let's be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that match will be a little more focused on than the women's world title. And
I think so too.
With that slight diminishment of focus, doesn't mean the match will be bad. I think the criticisms like, oh my God, didn't we just get this last year, would be a little bit less. If Bayley had won the Rumble again, then yeah, I'd be on board with you 100%. Like, let's not everybody can be Cody, and I even rolled my eyes at Cody initially. But I think it's a repeat, but it's different enough.
Yeah.
I think you can slide it under the radar, and as long as the match delivers, it'll be fantastic. People are down on Bayley's been washed this year so far. It's like, first of all, we're a month and a half into the year.
We're a month into the year, and then how do you even get that opinion? That's a little asinine.
Anyways,
but people are entitled to their opinions, but they're also entitled to be wrong. So
that's true. Everybody's entitled to my opinion. Told you I'm going to be a politician one day.
Hey, go for it.
The men's chamber now.
Yes.
Because I'm saving the main event for what I think the main event's actually going to be. Spoiler.
I already figured as much too. Yeah,
Priest,
myself, honestly.
Paul, Rollins, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and John Cena. Flat out.
This is going to be incredible.
It's going to be incredible. It's a mix of stars. The most
just Cena and Punk in there is a holy shit kind of thing because we, Money in the Bank history. Everybody wants to see them face each other. Punk made comments like, "Oh, I got to fight John one more time," and
everybody's got
and
overlapping.
He talked about it.
Everybody's got overlapping history. Damian Priest, he's only been there a couple of weeks. He's really strutted out on his own to be his own character on
He's
SmackDown.
doing very well,
On the mic, he's like night and day. Like, he was starting to drone on a little bit on Raw, especially
on
when
Raw,
they were just coming
he
out
lost
of
a bit and he was being a little whiny. It kind of seemed
just
a
coming
little
out
bit.
of Judgment Day. But, like, he's come across, and it's not really a fair comparison, but he's coming across a little bit like, fuck off, take me seriously. Like, if you don't take me seriously, I'll make you take me seriously. He's got I think I've said this to you in another pod, he's got a little bit of Mike Santana in him.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I think
Matt
it's kind of funny.
Shaving his head, yelling blood and guts, right?
Yeah.
Blood and guts!
It's kind of funny that with all the guys in here, the most, like, high-flying, sort of acrobatic, exciting in that way guy in this match is Logan Paul. Because if you look at Priest, Drew, Cena, Punk, Rollins, they can all do, like, top rope stuff, or they can all pull off a stunt or two, but nobody else in this match is really a high flyer. So Logan Paul's got a pretty...
Yeah, Logan's going to be the one that's going to be going
unique
from... He's the Ricochet.
Yeah, he's going to be the one that does something off the pod or whatever, and people are going to hate it because he's good, and they don't want to admit that he's good, whatever.
That's what I said before. I hate that he's so damn good because that takes away from my ability to be like, you prick, you don't deserve to be here, but you do because you're just really damn good, and that's the thing that's... I'm glad he's good, though. I mean, all joking aside, I wouldn't want him to suck. We've had celebrities come in before.
I hope they do... on SmackDown, the generic cut and paste, all 6 members of the Chamber this Saturday.
I hope so, too.
For one last
just
promo.
For your sake, but 2, because that showdown would be awesome. Like when they do the
ladders.
Ladders.
They have to hit Logan Paul with 2 things. They have to hit him with, the other 5 of us here might not like each other, but at least we're real wrestlers, and you're the outsider, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But somebody... and it'll probably be Punk, to be perfectly fair and real with it. Somebody's got to point out to Logan Paul that he's the only person in this match that's never been a world champion.
Yes, but he has been in the Chamber.
He has been in the Chamber, but he's never been a world champion.
And never been a world champion.
And with every single Triple H pun intended, look at the pedigree of the other guys in this match.
Well, think about it. So, Logan Paul going to face Cody kind of seems like a laugh, but they could do it in such a way where it would make sense. I mean, really, I could see them doing it and not hating it one bit.
I do. Here's the thing.
Because there's ways, because The Rock playing into it and all this stuff, like if they did like a big twist type deal, I mean, there's ways this could be worked out, certainly.
Logan Paul, for sure, they're going to put a world title on one day, right? Here's the thing.
I mean, it's happening.
They want that to happen, right? It's not going to be at Mania, and it's not going to be at Cody's expense. That's my gut feel.
I don't think so either, but I'm more kind of like fantasy booking it a little bit, but
they'll
have
Cody somewhere down the line. Cody will lose it to somebody, and they'll have Cody lose to somebody that they think can lose to Logan Paul. Like if Logan Paul was still on Raw and Damian Priest was still the world champion.
Yeah,
you could see Logan Paul beating Damian Priest for the secondary world title, even though I hate referring to it as the secondary world title.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they've done their best to try and elevate the game with that, with Priest and Gunther.
Yeah,
and
with all of them, really.
But here's my thing, right? I'm a little bit more stubborn on this one, because you know what I want at Mania.
Yes.
They have to give me, and it has to be for with respect to Gunther and all that. It had to be for this title. The last thing, I did a fantasy wrestling booking thing not too long ago. You can play around with anything else you want at Mania. You can have Tozawa versus Bianca Belair in the main event of night 1. Mm-hmm. If you give me Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship in the real main event, which I'm sorry is the main event of night 2, and CM Punk gets to walk out of WrestleMania as the champion, as the babyface, off of Cody Rhodes. Because that's the big AEW fuck you.
That is massive.
That is the ultimate, you could have had this. That is the ultimate, like, let's make Cody a heel because he's the surrogate for AEW. Let's make Punk the babyface because so many people in AEW wanted him to be seen as a heel in real life. And he gets the title that actually matters. not the one that's carried around in a briefcase.
Yeah, exactly. We actually got something here.
I'm open to all other modes of conversation you have about this match, but my view on this match is singular.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and it kind of all comes back to, it just keeps circling back to the same points. It seems that way. Oh God, I keep going. Spaz, if I had a gun to the head, I mean, like, because you go like, oh, is John Cena, does he turn heel? Did we get? I have turned this answer 100 different ways. It feels like it's probably going to change some more, but gun to my head, I'm picking Punk. I want Punk and Cody. The favor is still at play here. We don't know what that involves, and what that encapsulates. There's just too many X factors to not have it be frickin' Punk. I feel like Punk is the best choice possible.
It's gonna be good. They got really, really close at the Rumble too, and Logan Paul was the one that eliminated Punk from the Rumble.
Yes.
If Logan Paul pins CM Punk in Toronto, in the Chamber in the Dome,
oh my God,
I might turn.
It could happen.
I might turn. I might turn on Logan.
Happen.
Right now I'm with Logan too, because if it turns into, because Logan Paul ain't winning the Chamber, I'm sticking to that. Yeah. So if this branches off and the match for Punk at Mania is Logan Paul, then we've done something. Then we've done something weird.
Yeah, if it's Logan Paul, then we know we have like The Rock chose Logan now instead of like John.
Yeah,
wasn't his plan. It was Logan. I needed my champion, and that's there's something to it. We don't know what exactly, but if that's the case, then there's some hierarchy at play. Somebody made a decision.
I would love a big old faction to come out and help Cody. Just off the top of my head, maybe Ethan Page, Sean Spears, Ricky Saints. The
Outsiders?
No. The Elite Horsemen.
Oh, there we go.
The Elite Horsemen.
I like it.
Obviously, just because they're all very elite athletes at the top of their game, of course.
Absolutely.
Punk's winning, and if they don't win, I'm going to be yelling in the Chamber, in the Dome. You're going to hear me from Toronto.
I don't blame you if that's the case, but we'll see what comes of it.
What I am predicting to be the main event, because it's unsanctioned and it's basically going to be WWE's version of a dark match, and if a match is unsanctioned, it's not part of the show, then it better happen after the show.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to kill each other.
Yes, it really does. And these two have perfected and also sucked at killing each other at times. So we've gotten really great matches from these two, and we've gotten a couple okay ones. It got to a point at one point in time where I was like, all right, this has been played out. We've seen them face each other. And no matter what, it's always going to be entertaining, but it just became not formulaic, because that wasn't it. That's not fair to say, but it was getting stale. So not seeing them in any way for a while and having these roles kind of change, and now we know, Kevin's, not lost his mind, but he thinks he's right, and everything that we're getting around that story, it's just, there's a lot at play here. So I think Kevin Owens is going to end up at the end. Sami Zayn goes to get the win, but he can't kill his friend. He can't do whatever vicious move, and that's when...
See, you're going the exact same route I was going down, except for the fact that very recently they just told the same story with Cody.
Yeah, they did, but
so that is a case of where I will say, like, maybe they're repeating stuff a bit much. I think Kevin Owens wins.
I think Owens wins. Maybe it's just a shocking way he kills Sami. Then maybe he does something like that, like to really, because I think he's going to have a pretty big Mania, match. They want to showcase him pretty strong, so it's interesting to see what we get out of it.
See, here's my thing, right? I think Kevin Owens is going to win. I have no idea what he's doing at Mania.
I don't either.
I have a very good idea what he's doing after Mania.
Okay, because what do you think after Mania?
Well, first of all, there's a speculation for Mania that Sami Zayn, and it's predictable based on how the stories have gone, but I don't think it's a match anybody would have like fantasy booked. Apparently, they're looking at Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross.
That makes total sense.
Based on all the manipulation stuff and all that.
And I'm all for that, no doubt.
So that's Sami for Mania. I don't know what Kevin does for Mania.
What would I do with Kevin post-Mania? I would have him and Punk have a fucking series for the belt.
You hit it on the head.
Okay.
I took the wind right out of my sails there.
I just deflated you. I really thought you had something even better than that, because
No.
usually you're top notch.
Well,
but I don't think there is anything better than that. God damn it!
I can see Kevin Owens. I can see Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn decisively in Canada. By the way, fuck everybody that said, "Oh, they should have saved it for Mania." Let us have something too.
This is
By the way,
this is home for both of them. This has to happen this way.
Yeah. Well, it's home like Drew McIntyre's from Wales, but it's close enough. It's in Canada. I got you.
That's as much as you're getting. So
I'm taking the piss. No, because the chamber win that Sammy should have had when it was actually in Montreal was Roman, and no, that should have gone to Jay, but it went to Cody. Anyways, but here's my problem. Like, this happens. Karrion Kross tries to pick up the pieces of Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn resents him. Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross at Mania tells itself, right? But here's the thing. With Kevin Owens, I want to see him against Punk too. Kevin Owens and Punk, you build SummerSlam on that.
Yes.
You take that. I don't care what the other world title is doing, with all due respect. I think Jay's going to win. Early prediction, spoiler, whatever. But fuck all that for a second. Kevin Owens, in the psychotic heel delusional role that he's in right now, versus current CM Punk as the WWE champion after beating Cody Rhodes for the WWE championship in the main event of WrestleMania, because WWE is better than AEW, versus this version of Kevin Owens, you build SummerSlam on that.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
Here's the problem. Kevin Owens beats Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber. Scene missing.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens faces CM Punk at SummerSlam.
Insert scene here, yes.
Well, I'm sorry, this footage is missing. Because you can't justify Kevin Owens not having a big Mania match if you want to make that SummerSlam match as good as it should be.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. So
unless RKO versus KO at WrestleMania.
Ooh, yeah, because that's the only one that, you know what? I think you just solved it, because I forgot that he attacked Randy.
I just thought of that, yeah.
Yeah. We're a couple of fools. I totally forgot about Orton being attacked. That's what he does for Mania. Yeah, absolutely.
Because Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn is the better match. It's the match with more story.
Yeah.
Marquee value, and just to have another scalp under your belt, or whatever phrase you want to use, KO taking out RKO is a big momentum building name type thing.
Well, because why would they not do that match at Mania? Because they have other matches planned, which is, as we just said, it's going to be KO again. Yeah, because Orton hasn't come back yet since he got taken out.
That's
so
true.
that's
but you know what that means?
Owens is going to win here, and then Orton's is going to return. Yeah, that's my.
And he's going to take out Randy Orton as well. But you know what that means? That means somewhere in the build to Mania, we could get Kevin Owens and Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Which is another weird match that I want to look at.
No doubt about it. Like, that one is going to be a shit ton of fun. And then, if it happens, but no matter what, this match is going to be effing brutal, I think. I think they're really going to go all out here.
I really think it's actually going to do something to this match if it's not the main event. Like, I don't place... I mean, there's always an argument
unsanctioned, it's basically lights out, like it has to be, no?
There's always an argument about, like, placement and whatever, and I'm going to use the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Hell in the Cell as the example, right? How much better would that have been if it was in the main event? Some matches, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of matches that I see, this should have been here. It's like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. This will be looked at differently if it's not the main event. And the what you were saying earlier about, we're just getting another round of Sammy and KO.
Yeah.
They've both promised how brutal this match is going to be.
Oh, exactly. See, I don't think that now. I felt that way previously when they were fighting each other so regularly. So now that they've been away from each other for so long, and I think that it's going to be something special.
I think you could be, or somebody else out there that's thinking similarly to you, would be justified in thinking that. Are we just going for another round? What makes me think otherwise is how specifically they've talked about the violence that they want to do to each other, and hand in hand with what WWE let CM Punk and Drew McIntyre do to each other in Hell in the Cell.
Absolutely.
Single-handedly bringing back Hell in the Cell as a gimmick.
Yeah, and it absolutely destroyed and conquered every expectation that I had. Certainly, I don't know about other people.
And these guys have way more history to play off of than CM Punk and Drew McIntyre did.
Yeah, a lot more.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's
honestly,
it's a 4-match card. I'm really hoping that we get a 5th match, because 4 is.
I've heard no. That's why they had Cody and Rock added to it. They were going to add one more match on SmackDown, which might have been the U.S. title thing.
Mm. And they'll do something with the tags, and they'll keep it short, I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to be pessimistic, man. Like we talked about the numbers earlier, I think they squeezed a Rock segment onto this show to shift some more tickets.
I think so too.
Which is fair, because I'm excited that I'm going to see The Rock. I'm going to see The Rock and CM Punk in the Sky Dome.
In the dome,
in the chamber.
Anyways. We're on our way to. We've got Roadblock. Then we've got Stand and Deliver.
Roadblock has some negative news attached to it now.
Does it?
It does. I got the explanation of why they're doing women's title versus title.
Oh yeah.
Because apparently, I don't want to give a spoiler here, but one of the ladies in that match
is
dropping their title because they're dealing with some nagging injuries and they need to go away for a while, which sucks right before WrestleMania season.
Which sucks.
But also, it's one of those
debuting just recently, like what, October?
It's also one of those, like, we want this match to be awesome. Why are you having them do it now while one of them's injured? But there's other stuff coming on. There's lots of NXT NA stuff that you and I have covered quite a bit. You and I covered the most recent episode of NXT in Cincinnati live on your channel. I would encourage everybody to either go back there and check out the replay or catch the audios on my side.
And I figured out what the lovely buzzing noise is now, so we'll go ahead and kill that off of Skype.
We'll go and kill that.
That was annoying as hell. Hey, one week went on the right mic, next week got some buzzing. We're getting there. Yeah. And you know what I want to see? It's on right now. I don't know if this match is on, but tonight we've got the 6-man tag of the Hardys and Obafemi taking on Moose and the System. So Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Moose going to get the ass kicked. We got Manson Sammy, number 23, is going to be in action. Kazarian and Ace Austin, because they're kind of giving him shit for not using the call your shot trophy there yet. Yeah. Tessa is going to wrestle, or she's fired. And then you got Spitfire, Threat, and Luna taking on Ash and Heather by Elegance.
We're building towards Masha versus Jade as well, and a bunch of crossover stuff on the TNA side, a bunch of crossover stuff on the NXT side.
Yeah, we got Sacrifice coming up soon.
Yeah.
We are going to do something for Revolution. We've got Evolve coming up this Wednesday. You and I, we're going full gear in the Mania season. We're going to react to that, yeah.
No, we're not doing full gear. Full gear.
No, we're not doing full gear, but we are full gear into the Mania season.
What I will say is, you guys that have been checking us out on the live streams over on Jake's side, that's been awesome. The feedback I've been getting over here on our side is awesome.
Absolutely.
Folks that have migrated over from the Wrestling for Life network, chats
Shout
and
out
whatnot,
to those awesome guys too.
Really appreciate that as well. You need to join the WFU, and if you want to know what the WFU is, then you got to go check out our friends over at Wrestling for Life and tell them that we sent you.
That's right. Hang that banner high and fly that WFU flag strong.
Absolutely. Go check out Jake's channel if you want to catch more of our live stuff. Stay here if you want to hear the evergreen podcast content. But more importantly, Jake, tell them where to find you.
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Jake DeMarco or Countdown Ended. That's right, you have choices. And again, like I said, we'll be live this upcoming weekend. Friday night, you have SmackDown. Saturday night, I will be live. That's right, I'll be covering Collision. No, I'll be covering The Chamber. Because why? It's in the Dome. They have
it's in the Dome. I'm going.
You'll be there. You'll be our correspondent. We'll hear from you about how it went in on the inside. You'll let us know whatever little tips you can tell us, and we'll get some first-hand accounts from you, sir.
I'll tell you if I see Aleister Black in the parking lot.
That would be incredible, right? Get there early. And thank you so much for having me here, as always, my friend.
I think we've managed to chew the shit out of a 4-match card.
We have, and I told you we'd have enough to talk about. I wasn't wrong. And, everything from Sir Copeland down onwards. This is a hell of an action-packed podcast. You can look forward to more from us coming soon, so make sure you subscribe to the Spaz Network YouTube channel. Check them out. everywhere. And where is that, Spaz?
Exactly. You guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Jake. This has been a very long preview for everything going on in Toronto this weekend, and I'm going because they put the fucking chamber in the dome.
In the dome.
I can speak, I swear. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, me and this sexy bitch over here are tagging out. Bye, guys.
Spaz is going to win the chamber.
Facts.